The United Nations Children's Fund has initiated a radio education program in the Lake Chad Basin. This is part of efforts to support the 1.3 million children displaced by the activities of Boko Haram. The communication specialist for UNICEF's regional office in Senegal, Patrick Rose, is joining us right now via Skype from Dakar. Many thanks for joining us, Patrick.
Thank you for having us on.
Indeed. Let us understand how this radio program will work, in different languages or just in some particular languages?
It's in a variety of different languages. It's in Kanuri, it's in Hausa, it's in French. The idea is to start it off in Niger and in Cameroon, where obviously security is a little bit sort of more stable and our teams are better able to sort of work in some of the communities and go and reach out and set up the systems that are needed to support the children to access these radio shows. And what we're doing is we're making sure that the community members are making radios available. So being broadcast in Cameroon, and they're going to be broadcast starting in Niger at the end of the month. What we're going to start to see are children gathering around the radio, children who are out of school, who are maybe living in refugee camps or in host communities. They're going to be able to stay in an education routine. So even though they've maybe lost their school, they've experienced a tremendously upsetting displacement, they're still able to keep up with their learning, keep up with their studies, and interact with the other children in their communities while learning and engaging with curriculum.
All right, so beyond learning, in what other practical terms do you think that the radio program will be of benefit to the 1.3 million children displaced by Boko Haram insurgency?
Well, as I said, socially, it's really great. It brings the children together. It creates a sort of special rhythm in their day where they're able to sort of laugh and learn together. Obviously, one of the major issues in the crisis is how do we keep children engaged? How do we stop them from sort of listlessly sort of becoming bored or detached or over-focusing on some of the really upsetting and distressing events that they've been through? And of course, the best way to do that is to sort of provide them with a positive and a healthy alternative, which is what the radio program intends to do. But it's really part of a much wider response where UNICEF is setting up schools and training teachers and also equipping existing teachers with additional skills to help them cope with children who are clearly very disturbed by some of the violence that they've experienced and of course the displacement, the loss of their home, the loss of their everything that they knew.
Patrick, what are the content of this broadcast? What exactly are you teaching these children? That's one. Then will they get some kind of certification afterwards?
That's the long-term hope, is to try to work with the governments who are helping us develop the content and work towards some sort of certification. It's obviously not as good as a real teacher and a real school and so on, but we do want to sort of move in that direction so that children who do engage with the lessons and who demonstrate a certain aptitude can be certified. It's obviously, as I say, not a substitute for real school. The best thing is always going to be the one-on-one connection between a teacher, the feeling of being in a classroom. But what are we including in the lessons that really is closely developed, both of these programs, with the government of Cameroon and with the government of Niger. So it mirrors very closely the curriculum from those ministries of education, but it's added a lot of sort of radio-friendly elements, more music, more games, more interactivity, and of course it has basic components of numeracy and recitation, same as what you might find in school, but it also contextualizes it and acknowledges the circumstances that children are coming from. I mean, a lot of the education curriculum sometimes in the region can be a little bit out of date. And so this is a really fresh and a totally brand new set of programming. So it really is, connected to the here and now.
All right, Patrick. All right, Patrick, no doubt this is going to be a very capital-intensive project. Tell us how you intend to, do the funding of the project. Are you going to do it solely on your own, or you intend to seek for donations, from organizations?
Well, we're very lucky to have the European Union standing with us on this project. So altogether, this education and emergencies response is dealing with all 4 countries who are affected by the current northeast Nigeria, so Niger, Chad, and Cameroon. And out of a $6 million project, the European Union has paid for over 4. And so it's a really significant investment from the European Union. Again, we see this as a pilot. And if there are donors who are out there who are interested in innovative ways of bridging some of these barriers, of reaching children who are hard to reach, certainly we're interested in speaking to them. But you know, these are all countries that are dealing with the severe impacts of this crisis. So UNICEF is certainly not going and sort of asking for funding from these countries who are already being so generous in accepting refugees and dealing with the additional sort of needs of these displaced people. But what we would really welcome would be, you know, the public or governments who are interested in, who are following this crisis and recognize that this is a really significant innovation. And with the right support, UNICEF could take this idea and really expand it significantly and help hundreds of thousands of more children.
All right. Many thanks for your time and contributions today on TVC News Hour. Patrick Rose, Communication Specialist for UNICEF's Regional Office in Senegal. Many thanks.